Welcome to Easy to Love Yoga with Shanna. In today's episode of Strike a Pose, we're going to investigate cow and cat pose. So our spotlight is on cow and cat. So cow and cat is a pose that allows you to bring gentle movement into your spine. It can be performed in a number of different ways, seated in a chair, on your mat, or on your hands and knees on the ground. You can also perform cow and cat against the wall. So we'll explore a couple different ways today that you can perform cow and cat breath. So a cow breath is an inhale, lifting the chin and the chest, looking up towards the ceiling as we raise our hands. And a cat breath is an exhale as we lower our hands behind us, arching our back towards the back of the chair. So a couple of rounds for an example. Inhaling to cow, lifting the chest, looking up at the ceiling, arms come up. Exhale to cat, arching the back towards the back of the chair, arms come behind. Inhaling to cow and lifting. Exhaling to cat and arching. Inhale to cow and lift. Exhale to cat and arch. Now there's another way that we can modify this pose and bring a little movement into our lower body as well. So we're going to lift our foot on the cow and lower our foot on the cat. So starting with the cow, inhaling, lifting one foot. Exhaling to cat, lowering the foot. Still arching the back behind. Inhale to cow, lift the opposite foot. Exhale to cat, lower that foot, arch behind. Inhale and lift. Exhale and place the foot down. Inhale and lift. Exhale and place the foot down. So there are a number of different ways you can perform cow and cat breath seated in a chair. Now I'm going to set my chair aside. And we're going to use a couple of other different props that you can use. So I have a yoga bolster. I'm just going to sit on this yoga bolster, forward to the bolster. If I sit too far back, I have a tendency to round. So we want to sit forward. We want a nice straight spine. Our hips are elevated above our knees here. And we can do cow and cat breath this way. So starting with an inhale, looking up at the ceiling. To cow. Exhaling to cat, arching the back, bringing the arms behind. Inhaling to cow. Exhaling to cat. Inhaling to cow. Exhaling to cat. Now, as an alternative, if you don't have a yoga bolster, you can use a blanket folded like a seat, or you can use two yoga blocks placed together like a seat. So there are alternatives to the bolster. We can use blocks, we can use a blanket, we could even use a couple of beach towels stacked one on top of the other and folded like a seat. So if you find that having your legs crossed is uncomfortable, you can bring your feet forward and have your knees nice and bent here. Now you could use a blanket for support under the knees, or if you have a set of yoga blocks and you like that little bit of extra support, you can bring the yoga blocks just under the legs so your legs have something to rest on. We're still sitting on the bolster or the blanket or set of blocks. Nice tall posture here. Inhaling up into cow. Exhaling to cat, arching the back. Inhaling to cow. Exhaling to cat, arching the back. Inhaling to cow. Exhaling to cat. Inhaling to cow. And exhaling to cat. So yoga blocks can be useful in helping give you that little extra cushioning if you are in a butterfly leg position. Now if that is not comfortable and you prefer to have a straight leg position, I use a nice little pool noodle that I've cut into 3 pieces. So I just have 2 pieces of that pool noodle here. I place the pool noodle under my knees. So it helps prevent me from hyperextending at the joint here. So I'm still sitting nice and forward on my bolster or blanket or set of blocks. And I'm going to inhale up into cow. Exhale to cat. Inhale to cow. Exhale to cat. Inhale to cow. Exhale to cat. Beautiful. Now if you don't have a set of pool noodles, that's okay. You can also use your blanket and fold your blanket in such a way that it's available to reach under both of your knees, and you can extend out in this manner. And also inhale to cow and exhale to cat. Inhaling to cow. Exhaling to cat. Inhaling to cow. and exhaling to cat. So there's a number of different ways you can use the same props through this practice of cow and cat breath. Now there's one more way that we can do cow and cat breath before we get to the wall, and that's using supports under our knees. We're going to come onto all fours. So I'm just going to set some of these props aside. Now you can buy yoga props that are made to be used under the hands or under the knees. Now if you can't find these, you can go to most garden centers or even at the dollar store and you can find gardening knee cushions, and they work just as well as the yoga props. So I'm going to bring my knees onto these props. It just gives me that extra cushioning under my knee. Now if I don't have these, I could use a blanket as well or a towel folded. I'm going to bring my hands underneath my shoulders. I'm going to spread the fingers nice and wide on the mat. My knees are hip width apart. And I'm going to start with the cow by allowing my belly to drop as I inhale, lifting my head upwards. And I'm going to exhale into cat, arching the back, looking towards my knees. Inhaling to cow, dropping my belly, looking up. Exhaling to cat, arching my back, looking towards my knees. Inhale to cow. Exhale to cat. Beautiful. So again, as an example, using a blanket, if you don't have any extra supports, you can just have that blanket at a comfort level for you, whatever height that you find is most comfortable cushion-wise. Once again, bring your knees hip width apart, hands under the shoulders, fingers nice and wide. We're going to inhale to cow, dropping the belly. Exhaling to cat, arching the back. Inhaling to cow. Exhaling to cat. Inhaling to cow. And exhaling to cat. Beautiful. Now there's one more way that we can do cow and cat breath, and that involves using the wall. So I'm going to set these props aside. I'm going to come up to the wall. I'm going to sit very close to the wall, but I'm going to have enough room so I can place my feet on the wall and have a 90-degree bend at my knees. So I'm not bringing my glutes right up against the wall as we would for legs up the wall pose. I'm just coming close enough to the wall so I can swing my feet up on the wall and have my knees bent 90 degrees. I'm just going to allow my arms to rest at the side. So when I do a cow breath and I inhale, I'm going to arch my back upwards, bringing my belly up, inhaling. And when I do a cat breath, I'm going to exhale and lower my spine to the mat. Inhale to cow, allow the belly to lift. Exhale to cat, flatten the back to the mat. Inhale to cow and lift the belly. Exhale to cat, flatten the back. Inhale and lift the belly. Exhale to cat and flatten the back. And to come out of this pose, I'm just going to bring my feet down to the ground. Just push myself away gently. Roll over onto one side and come back onto my hands and knees coming out of the pose. So take your time coming out of the pose when you do cat and cow against the wall. So the options that you choose to make cow and cat breath most comfortable for you is going to be absolutely based on your preferences. So whether you use yoga props like the blankets, the blocks, the chair, the bolster, or the wall is all going to be dependent on what you find most comfortable. And that could be based on your current level of activity. It could be a back injury or surgery that you've had that makes certain poses uncomfortable. So remember, whenever you do a pose and you use a prop, you always want to remember to keep yourself safe. So if something does not feel comfortable in any one of these options, please don't do it. That's your body signaling to you that that is not the pose modification for you to use. So always check with your doctor if you're not sure if this is a pose for you. And remember to always keep yourself safe and enjoy the nice spinal movement in cow and cat breath. Have a fantastic day. Thanks for joining me.